name is Linda Hensley, and I'm chair of the communication department. My plea to the board is the same as these past speakers, and that is the decision to cut 25% of our spring schedule. Over the last few years, we have eliminated 40% of the classes in the communication department. The communication curriculum includes one of the main general ed classes requirements for community college students. My son graduated from Southwestern College 1.5 years ago, and when he toured various CSU campuses, they always ask the same question. Have you completed your math class, your English class, your critical thinking class, and your oral communication class? It did not matter if you transferred with 60 units or 200 units. You had to have these 4 classes completed. It's worth mentioning that to graduate with your associate's degree, you also need to take this oral communication class. And because it's extremely important that I repeat this number, we have cut 40% of our classes in the past 2 years in the communication department. What should we expect from this drastic decision? The only answer is that there will be 40% fewer students graduating from Southwestern College and 40% fewer students with the ability to transfer. We know that, as Karina mentioned, Southwestern College is the only school of higher education in the South Bay. We also know that our students face numerous challenges and obstacles in achieving their college education. We can spin it all we want, but we are losing too many students, and we will continue to lose too many students. When they are turned away from Southwestern College, they will attend San Diego City College, Cuyamaca, Grossmont, or maybe just sit home watching television. Everyone in this room knows that the state of California and public education is in serious trouble, but how we act on this problem is extremely important. According to a San Diego Union Tribune article from October 7th, 2009, UCSD is lending itself $40 million to try and maintain the same quality education for their students. Over the past week, I've talked with communication department faculty and chairs at Palomar, Grossmont, and San Diego City College. I was really disappointed when I learned that Palomar is making approximately a 10% cut for the spring. San Diego City College is cutting a few sections for the spring semester. They told me that over the past 2 years, they've cut 20% of their sections. Grossmont is cutting approximately 10% for their spring semester. All of the folks that I spoke with consider these deep and serious cuts. When I shared with them that we've cut 40% in the last 2 years, they were astounded. There are other options, and they have been articulated to the college by various groups, including the students, faculty, and academic administrators. It is important to take these budget recommendations into consideration before cutting these needed classes. Thank you.
Ruth, Lori. Ruth. Okay, Jackie Thomas, Sherry Medler, and Philip Lopez.
Who? You. You?
So is that Patty Flores? Patty?
I was first.
Yeah. Jackie Thomas?
I was taking place if he couldn't make it. He's my chair, and I was just going to do it twice. So it says on there for name too.
Okay.
It says Tim Fong.
Team Fong, okay. I got that. Thank you.
My name is Tin Unfrederickwog. I am the department chair for physical sciences. That includes the disciplines of astronomy, chemistry, engineering, earth sciences, and physics. And I'm reporting that the current and future impact of the mandatory 25% course reductions. That's 28 sections out of 109 total sections. Made to the spring and summer terms of 2010. That's over the approximately 10% course reductions that have occurred over the past year and a half. The academic impacts of the course reductions are, 1, between 500 and 800 science students will be unable to take the course. 2, evening courses will be decimated, leaving a significant segment of the community without access to highly sought, impacted courses in the sciences. 3, it will be increasingly difficult for students to complete coursework in these demanding and critical fields at a time when President Obama himself has called upon community colleges to help produce graduates in these disciplines. 4, with the dearth of general education sections, it will be impossible to draw students to explore these disciplines. 5, the reduced number of adjunct faculty in these small disciplines will greatly impact the intellectual richness of the college. 6, Southwestern College's ability to garner external funding could be adversely affected by a lack of success in important career technical education programs such as pharmaceutical laboratory science and geospatial technology, the establishments of which were brought about by several hundreds of thousands of dollars, grant dollars from the National Science Foundation. The human impacts of the course reductions are: 1, the career adjunct instructors with families are losing their jobs solely because they've been loyal to Southwestern College. 2, budding teachers, many of whom are outstanding, will also be unemployed. 3, with the loss of these instructors, we will lose many years of experience in discipline-specific memory. 4, industrial connections that lead to internships and jobs will be lost. 5, for the future, it may be difficult to replace them once courses are reinstated, as they surely will be. Furthermore, the department is dismayed that the community was led to believe that running a handful of course offerings over the summer somehow constitutes a summer session. Respectfully, me. And the Physical Science Department. Thank you.
Patty Forrest, was she here to speak?
Yeah, Patty Flores Charter.
This is Patty Forrest.
Gotta put my finger on. Good evening. I too have been dismayed by the manipulation of the media over the last 2 years, but most recently over the summer and in the last few weeks. Students, faculty, staff have all been impacted by the 2 reorganizations, the 2 rounds of class cuts that preceded this current round. Other colleges are working with their faculty senates, unions, classified staff, and administration on what cuts to make. We have to make cuts. I heard an administrator cavalierly referring to the fact that we have to make cuts, as if the faculty and classified don't understand that. We're real clear on that, and we want to work together. Other colleges, I've talked with colleagues, my husband works at Cuyamaca, none of them were unilaterally dictated to make class cuts late in the fall term, impacting the production of the class schedule for the availability of planning for students. This is the only college in our region that took this action. Within my own office, Disability Support Services, I'm here on behalf of Maria Constein, our department chair. We've cut half of our personal development classes, which provide a bridge of students both from special education courses graduating and coming to our college, as well as military personnel who are leaving the military with disabilities. And we're seeing in the last 2 years a majority of students coming in who have lost their jobs. The goal of our classes was to help them adjust to college, identify career paths, and get into the mainstream basic skills courses. We've heard what's happening even to the basic skills courses. Our categoricals next year are looking at 40% cuts. The cuts are real, the cuts are deep. I met with our director on June 10th. The solution was to let go of long-term classified personnel with over 20 years of commitment to the college during the summer while they were not working. And we were able to work something else out, let me put it that way. We really need to work now. I brought this up in our counseling school meeting at the beginning of the term, to put together a group to plan how we are going to deal with the 40% cuts next year with the categorical programs. I know we can work this out together, but to date nothing has happened along those lines to put together any type of core group in student services to look at scenarios and possibilities Instead, today in our disability meeting, we were just told to make cuts. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to talk?
Yeah, I assume that you moved the people who wanted to speak to the agenda item up to...
No, I didn't. No, I didn't notice, but you can see
No,
that.
that's fine. Okay, that's what I was going to suggest. So maybe all the people who have filled out that request to speak to the agenda item should come and speak, so we're all speaking to the same thing?
How many do we have that want to speak? Because you're the only one who wants to speak.
Well, about class cuts.
Okay.
You know, one of the things I'm Phil Lopez, the association president, you know that. One of the words I've heard thrown around a few times tonight is decimate. You know, I'm an English teacher. Decimate means 1 in 10. We're talking about a double decimation or more. But let me begin with the obvious. One thing that we all agree on is that it is students who are at the heart of Southwestern College. Students are why we're here. Students are the reason why we have jobs. So imagine students at the center of the circle. Okay, the first concentric ring around these students is faculty. We have the most daily contact with our students. We're the ones who teach the classes that they're enrolled in. So that's students and faculty. The next concentric ring is classified staff. They keep our computers running, they register students, maintain our records, they answer the phones, they keep our campus looking as beautiful as it does. They clean our classrooms and they feed us in the cafeteria. The outside ring is administration. And they're the folks who organize, manage, and direct all this to keep it running smoothly most of the time. So here's a picture of what I just said. Show it to the audience. Students are at the center, then there's faculty, then there's staff, and then there's administration. Okay. Unfortunately, to the decision makers around here, the folks at the top, this picture looks like a target. Okay. That's just backwards. This needs to be an anti-target. This is the bullseye. Students are where you should not be aiming. The arrows should be in other places on this target. The last thing that we should be doing is aiming at the bullseye. Okay, so one thing that you need to understand, this is really important. Too many students is not the problem we are facing right now. The problem we are facing right now is $2 million less than we anticipated. If our problem were simply too many students, then all we would have to do is to lower class maximums for next semester and enforce them, and the students would be gone. If I had a button and I could make students disappear, we would still have the same $2 million shortfall. The real question is a simple one. How many class sections is the district willing or able to fund next semester? How many class sections are you going to pay for? Cutting classes saves money because it reduces payroll. Okay, so the district is planning on cutting 430 to 450 classes to save $2 million. Please understand, 450 fewer classes with an average class size of 35 means 15,000 fewer places for our students in the spring. That's 15,000 fewer opportunities to learn. Cutting classes should be the very last thing this district is doing. So let me provide a little perspective on this issue. Our district budget is just about $100 million. A $2 million shortfall is merely 2% of our entire budget. Instead of cutting classes, all we need to do is to reallocate, to redirect 2% of our budget. May I finish? It'll take me 3 more minutes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we're reallocating 2% of our budget. We're trying to save $2 million. I have a suggestion for getting this done, and it's a simple 3-step process. First, our beginning balance at the start of this fiscal year was exactly $13,467,393. That's about 13% of our total budget, which is far greater than the 5% minimum recommended by the Chancellor's Office. Now, $2 million, I understand community college financing, more or less. $2 million in that budget is restricted, so you can't spend that. Another portion of this balance will be spent this fiscal year to balance the books. However, $6,006,401 remain in what you call the governing board reserve. So, step number 1, spend $1 million of the governing board reserve, and we're halfway there. Next, the district is putting $500,000 into a GASB account. for future medical benefits for retirees. You've heard me speak of this in the past. We've done it for the past 5 years, or excuse me, past 3 years. And an interesting sidelight that you ought to know about is that the taxpayer money that y'all put into this fund has lost 12% of its value. Okay? But we don't need to add to this fund this year. Putting money into the bank when we're cutting classes just doesn't make sense. Furthermore, we could use the existing GASB money to pay this year's cost of medical benefits for retirees. That would free up an additional $380,000. And there would still be nearly $1 million left in the GASB bank. So step 2 saves $880,000 plus the $1 million that we already saved. You're only $120,000 short, really close to home. Salaries for management employees in this district are $6 million. A temporary 2% pay cut for management would amount to $120,000, and the problem is solved. And if the board doesn't want to cut management salaries, then you can simply spend a little more out of the reserves. So the bottom line for me is really simple. Because of the decision to cut classes this spring, hundreds of teachers, adjunct teachers, will lose their jobs or part of their jobs. Thousands of students will lose part or all of their classes. But so far, not one of the people who made this decision will lose even one thin dime. Finally, because the board chose to agendize this item as for discussion only, you will not be making a decision about class cuts this evening. It's hard for me to understand, it really is, why the governing board does not want to govern. As elected public officials, it's your responsibility to stand up and be counted. So why don't you just schedule a special governing board meeting to consider this issue and do what the sign says, do what benefits our students. Thank you.
Speak on item 18P3, that's Daniel Harris, Valerie Goodman Colbert, Ann Wolf, and Elizabeth Sisko. Daniel?
Yes, thank you. Obviously, I'm here from the student body. I'm also a taxpayer within Chula Vista. I've owned multiple properties within the city. I always thought it was an opportunity that was going to be there for me. I have a home in Winding Walk, which my monthly tax bill is probably $1,100, which a good portion comes to the school. So I hope from your standpoint you can understand that I'm pretty upset that a benefit I thought was going to be available to me once I retired from the military is obviously not gone. I would ask of the panel here, if you were going to lose your jobs as your teachers are facing, would you not be willing to spend the reserves that is available? If they were to take that panel and say, well, you know, we're facing a $2 million shortfall, we're going to have this panel down to 4. You know, I bet you we'd be more willing to sit down and find viable solutions. That's my one thing. And I ran a business. I ran a business here in Chula Vista, and a real estate office. We also had budget problems, obviously, when the real estate market crashed, and we had to adjust and regroup and come back, and we still have an office open, and we are still provide the same services. Having more students seems like a blessing instead of a curse, to where the people that cannot find a solution to do this. Also, the gentleman previously who spoke about how to come up with this money, I too have suggestions where you need to go back and look to where we can find this money to solve this problem, minor problem that we have. Just as Congress faces now with the healthcare system, they are having to find money when all the Republicans are running around saying we can't spend $850 trillion on a healthcare budget, on a healthcare system that's broken. Well, our education system is broken as well, And right now what's happening, you're going to break it down further by disallowing these students, as well as you're getting rid of qualified professors, you're getting rid of qualified teachers. Once you let these people go, how are you going to regather them once the economy rejuvenates and starts to make that gradual comeback? And obviously that will be done with the housing market. And once that returns, I'm sure some of the money will come back into the funds. I would ask that, has Cheryl Cox been brought into the picture as the mayor of the city, and can funds be redirected? Several times, I got one more point, if I can make it, and I'll make it quick. If she can be brought into the picture and we can reallocate funds. I see money wasted around the city every day. I drove down, I live off of Otay Lakes Boulevard. They repaved that, they filled the potholes for a mile stretch of road. And then approximately a month later, they tore up that same mile stretch and repaved the whole road. That's a waste of funds that could be redirected to other avenues. Thank you for my time.
Good evening. The recent section cuts that were directed for spring and summer of 2010 are disconcerting, especially for the impact on academic programs, student success, and access. Cuts could be done in other areas on this campus, but they are not being considered. Faculty input continues to be an afterthought on this campus. The people who know the most about the impacts of class offerings are ignored, yet the workload is put on them from the top-down decisions. While deans and chairs consulted when deciding which classes to cut, faculty had no say in how many FTES to cut, or no one asked if we could do something other than cut sections. Claims that discussions and consultation took place are erroneous, since any discussion took place after deadlines for the cuts were to be met. Faculty are talked at, talked down to, told to do the duties without input or possible buy-in, and then were dragged through the mud with total disregard for a worth. Claims publicly by the superintendent president that a task force of deans and chairs have been meeting for the last 3 weeks on enrollment management have just met today at 3:30 for the first meeting. Claims that a schedule that meets student access and needs was accomplished in the current class cutting, quote unquote, shuts out 20 to 25% of students. English 71, Math 45, basic skills, you name it. How does the administration define suffer? When claiming no academic programs will suffer, that was a quote today out on a public memo. Every program is suffering when it can't meet the needs of the students. Have you not listened to what's happening tonight? The 200 additional class sections over the state-funded FTES, as claimed, doesn't come close to meeting student demands. I was told just a week ago a much lower number. Today's claim was 200. So what is the truth? Why is it that no one's talking about student demand or our obligation to the community? The false claims accumulated over the last several weeks and the last 2 years in emails, memorandums, newspaper editorials, over and over show documentation that establishes not only the validity of the accreditation team that just left less than 1 week ago, saying their concerns for us were the lack of shared governance, lack of input, and the lack of trust. May I finish? I have 2 more sentences. Thank you. It also shows a disregard, a gross disregard and disrespect for any recommendations that the commission ultimatums will come down in January or February to this district and the communities that we serve at Southwestern College. I spent for 3 days in 10 different interviews while the accreditation team was here. In more than half of those 10, the accreditation site team members said to me without anything being said by me, why are people trying to head toward your heart and cut your spirit? That is an accreditation site team that says something before I can even open my mouth. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ann Wolf. I'm a part-time teacher in the Arts and Communications Department, and I'm one of the many who will be affected by your decision to cut 26% of class sections this spring. Besides I currently teach a 55% teaching load. That will be reduced to 20% because of your decision. Besides my teaching, my only income is from a struggling small business selling my own artwork. So therefore, I am losing 40% of my income next spring because of your decisions. More people like me might be here tonight to speak to you about this, but they're probably out filling out job applications at Starbucks. So I'd like to just talk to you a little bit about one of the classes that you're cutting. It's the class I won't be teaching this spring. It's a studio arts course in jewelry and metalsmithing. This course is one of the few offered in the county. At Southwestern College is one of the few community colleges in the county who offer this. It teaches students the fundamentals of design as it relates to jewelry and metalsmithing. Students who take this class often transfer to San Diego State to continue in this field, where they can pursue undergraduate and graduate degrees in one of the top 5 jewelry metals programs in the country, at San Diego State. My class also has vocational value. Many of my students go on to start small businesses here in Chula Vista, earning a living by selling their own artwork. Cutting this class will therefore affect Southwestern's transfer rate to university, as well as taking away a valuable vocational opportunity during a time when Chula Vista is experiencing double-digit unemployment levels. So I ask, why are you making cuts where it will hurt Chula Vista the most? Why are you not responding to reasonable suggestions made here tonight, made by the Academic Senate, various committees and individuals with good ideas? Why have you not even considered an example unpaid furloughs for all employees, as is being done at UCSD, instead of balancing the budget on the backs of adjuncts while cutting vital classes that students need to graduate or retrain in these times of severe unemployment? I've never spoken at a board meeting before. Seeing the way things go at Southwestern College over the 6 years that I've worked here can result in apathy, feelings of powerlessness, being beaten down, and not being able to even try to change things. Well, speaking for myself, not trying to change things and not speaking up has gotten me here, not a great place. You may think that you can continue to safely ignore our input, with your only cost being forced to listen to us occasionally at meetings such as this one, hoping that it will be a catharsis and that we will then go back quietly to our classrooms and put up with whatever is given to us. But let me tell you, there's a fine line between apathy and activism. More and more of us are crossing this line every day because of your actions.
Yeah.
What's left to be said? Here goes. Before I begin to speak, I want to acknowledge everyone outside and the lack of democratic process here tonight by your decision to exclude our community from a community meeting. I'm Elizabeth Sisko, Chair of Visual Arts and Director of the Gallery. I did not come tonight to tell you how much visual arts in the gallery are struggling. You already know. You crippled the gallery by firing the performing arts coordinator. I'm passing along a sheet of the work that wasn't existent, so you could fire her. You see how that work's been divided up. You deepened the wound by tacitly agreeing to cut off the release time for the gallery director. You denied education to hundreds of deserving students by cutting classes 2 years in a row while approving raises and hiring more administrators. Visual arts will cut 22 more sections in spring 2010. That equates to 800 students. 800 students who turn to education, especially in economic hard times, to benefit themselves and the community. 800 young people out on the streets. I don't need to tell you that you know how hard we've been hit. In fact, I'm passing around the title of our biennial exhibition that's opening Thursday. Hit. It's a boat with us sinking in it. What I don't know, what most of us don't know, is how to speak so you will open communication. At board meetings last year, I heard the community appeal to you in every imaginable way, with factual information and reasonable options. Bob Filner tried to cajole you into reversing your Blackwater decision. Karina Soto asked you to consult your higher self before voting on the reorg. I wrote Dr. Roche 3 times regarding release time. These voices fell on deaf ears and stone faces. The only voice I've seen you to respond to are threats from the president that he will quit if you do not back his dictatorship. It's feeling like Animal Farm around here. We just completed accreditation. It occurred to me what a discredit to our college this administration and this board are. I appeal to you to stop destroying Southwestern College through your actions. Do not balance the budget on the backs of our students. Do not cut classes. I appeal to you to open dialogue with us. Heal the wounds of the past 2 years. Let's move forward in support of our college mission to benefit the students. Thank you, and I invite you to come to our opening in the gallery tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Luis Castro. I'm just a regular guy. I'm here to represent all the people outside that were not able to participate because of your arrogance and because you were so inflexible. Please show us that you're not arrogant or inflexible by not cutting one task. Thank you.
Jody Baker, Tamari Pistani. Jody?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I am an adjunct instructor here in the English department at Southwestern College, and I also teach at 2 other colleges in the city, or county, I should say. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to give you my thoughts. I'm one of those adjuncts that will inevitably be cut from due to these class cuts, and I know there are other options. Not only will these class cuts hurt a lot of very, very important faculty, but of course, most importantly, they're going to hurt a lot of students. And I remember specifically being a student and how it was, fortunately for me at that time, it was easy to get the classes I needed. But I remember the few times that I wasn't able to get those classes, it was detrimental. It had a lot of other effects, such as not even being able to maintain health insurance because I had to take 12 units in order to do that at the time. And so the biggest problem we face is that these cuts are not only going to hurt faculty, but they're going to hurt a lot of students, which will in turn hurt the community. And the community is who we are supposed to represent. The community is the backbone of everything. So please look at the other options. There are a lot of other options. I know that Rosemont District and Palomar District have done other things in order to avoid huge class cuts, and I know that we have other options as well. There is always another solution. Please, please, for the benefit of everyone, please look at the other options. Thank you very much.
Tamari Pistani. Tamari. Kristen SWC, Jawan Maria Mendoza, and Consuelo Springer. Kristen? Delia?
Our progress as a nation can be sweeter than our progress in education. John F. Kennedy.
Southwestern College is the only community college in the southwestern region of the San Diego County. It is serviced by Chula Vista, National City, Imperial Beach, in San Diego. The next closest colleges are Cuyamaca on the eastern side of the county, and San Diego Community on the northern side of the community. It is said that it serves approximately 18,000 students per year. However, this number is limited due to the number of the available class. Class are the capacity and the needs of us, the student is graded and graded every day. With declining the economy, it's imperative that the employer and the students seek higher education in order to improve their life success opportunities. As the nation reaches to strive, we as a student have the same need and found the answer in education. With the student play not to have class reduced. This will have a high impact on our teachers who not having the jobs will then have to move to the other institution, leaving us with less and less opportunities. It's immeasurable the impact the teachers have in our lives. Since little, they are the ones who teach us to communicate, to understand one another. They are the ones that open our eyes to the endless opportunities that can be achieved through the education they give us through our long life journey. So I play once again to please consider increase class and not reduce them, as they will reduce or change other success. I used to teach, and for me, the education is more important for all the state. Thank you very much.
Kristen, right? I'm Kristen. Go ahead.
What's your last name?
Kapachesi. Very complicated.
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce the name.
Thank you for agreeing to hear me out. I've barely started coming here to Southwestern College, and it's really frustrating that constantly I run into obstacles preventing me to come to school. I'll be the first in my family to graduate from college, but by cutting classes, you're preventing me from coming to college. Constantly, obstacles, obstacles, obstacles. We have so many people giving input and advice on way to improve classes and keep students in school, but by cutting the classes, there's going to be more people unemployed, staying at home, but people want to be in schools. I pay taxes, I'm paying salaries, I'm helping contribute to the school, but by denying me the right to be here, I'm not going to be able to be a college student, and that's denying my family's dream, as well as my dream. Please don't cut classes. I don't want to be a failure. I just want to make my family proud, as well as my community. Thank you.
Springer, Carol Eduardo, Dorothy Gaffney.
name is Consuela Springer. I'm from Chile, South America. I came from Connecticut. I was very proud, and they have a very nice school over here in Southwestern. That's my first time to learn English, and people ask me, you live so long over here, why do you not have opportunity to learn English? It's because in Connecticut it's very, very expensive, the classes. I'm very proud over here at Southwestern. The price so good and can go to school. Right now they're cutting the classes. It's hard for me because I can go back again, not have any career or anything. My daughter goes to Bonita school, and I told her about when I'm going today, and she told me they're going to cut it. Why I'm going to graduate high school? For what? They don't have any. If they're going to cut the school over here, why too much studying? I'm very sad because my daughter right now, she's very upset about them cutting the classes. So she told me she loved to quit the high school for gonna have opportunity over here. So please don't cut. Keep the teacher going on. They're wonderful teachers. I'm very, very proud. We have the ESL students. I'm very proud of the apartment. They helped me a lot. I'm very proud with the tutoring class. I'm very proud with everything. I'm very proud with the teacher. I hope so people from outside they can hear me. Thank you, and please don't cut.
Carol Duarte.
Good evening. My name is Carol Stuardo. I'm the Southwestern College Education Association part-time rep. I've had the privilege to be a Spanish and ESL instructor here at Southwestern College for the last 5 years. But tonight, I'm here speaking on behalf of all part-time faculty. After years of providing dedicated service, we, the part-time faculty of Southwestern College, have just one question for you. When the college has a $13 million surplus, why are the first cuts aimed at students and part-time faculty? As you have heard countless times tonight, a lot of other cost-cutting suggestions have been made over the past 9 months. And yet the college is going straight to the heart of the institution's mission: educating students and serving the community. Thank you very much.
Actually, my name is Tamori. My name was skipped over. There's a huge crowd outside. It's kind of hard to get to me through. So.
Your name is what?
Tamori Tristani. My card was called earlier.
Okay, here you go.
Thank you. So I am a current student at Southwestern College. I came to Southwestern to prepare myself for a higher college and to get into an electrical engineering program at a 4-year. When I came here, I immediately enrolled in summer classes to start early, and so I could get to this college faster. Since higher level classes are being cut, especially math and science classes, the courses that I need to transfer, I have now decided to transfer to a out-of-state college at an expense to me to get these credits. You are losing students by cutting classes. I am an example of that. By cutting classes, you will lose money because students such as myself will be leaving in order to find a place where they are more accepted. Thank you.
Next speaker is Dorothy Gaffney, and then Jeff Neville, and Kenneth Dorothy Gaffney. Do we have Dorothy Gaffney?
Yeah, she's up here, she's just trying to get in.
How about Jeff Nevin, is he here? Okay, Jeff.
There's Mariachi. Did you see him on TV? What's that program?
Hi, I'm Jeff Nevin. I'm here representing the Performing Arts Department. I teach in Mariachi. I don't know if you saw us on TV. We were on KPBS last week. We just returned from Russia. We took 15 students to Vladivostok, Russia this summer. And you might have also seen us on national news. About a month ago, we were in Blackwater. I had 32 students with me in Blackwater. And I wanted to talk to you very personally. I don't have a speech to read. I just made a couple of points here. It's a very hard day, I think. I think you can all go home and turn to your loved ones, and I'm sure there was someone who was very happy and for you when you got this job, and I'm sure you went out to a very nice dinner and enjoyed and celebrated when you got the job. And I think you can go home and say, today is a very hard day, and it's a hard day for all of us. And I'd like you to tell those people that we have a $2 million budget gap right now. And as Phil pointed out, a $2 million gap is a 2% gap in our budget. And I wish you would have some sort of answer for me as to why a 2% gap in our budget justifies a 25% reduction in our courses. It's just such a sad thing. As chair of Performing Arts, right now we're running at 100% full. I saw in the news, forgive me, Dr. Chopra, but I saw in the news that you were quoted as saying that this is partially about efficiency. We're 100% full. We cut 25% of our classes, but we're 100% full. For me in Performing Arts, I like round numbers. We've got like 98 classes, so let's say we have 100 classes. I cut 28 classes for the spring semester. And if you use roughly 35 students per class, that's nearly 1,000 students that want to take music or dance or theater classes. And we're turning them away. I also heard that we're not cutting jobs. I called 20 people this week and said, I'm sorry, but we don't have classes for you. One of them said, but I've been teaching here for 19 years. I said, I'm sorry. It's just such a horrible situation. When the three chairs, Linda, Liz, and I heard them speak before, we were asked to make the cuts, and they say it's about FTES. FTES is one of these numbers, and nobody quite knows what it means. They said, well, you have to cut 200 FTES from Performing Arts or from college. We just kind of looked at the schedule, and anything that was a little bit low, a year ago we made cuts. A year ago we had classes that were 65, 70% full, and other classes were 100% full. So we took the ones that were 65%, and it was hard, but we cut those classes. Now classes are 100% full. It's not about efficiency, and it's not about FTES. I'm sorry, I'll finish this up. FTES is up because more students came to take the classes. If the students disappeared, if we only had all of our classes full, we would still be over our, I lost my train of thought. But if the students disappeared, we would still have the same expenses. So the only way that we can reduce the expenses is not by cutting classes. Okay, I'm sorry, there are other ways, and there have been many things that have been proposed. There are ways of raising income. There are ways of cutting someplace else. Please take this very seriously. We're cutting 1,000 people from Performing Arts.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
My name is Kenneth Gerard Warranty II, and I've never done anything like this before. But one point I want to make is our troops are in foreign lands fighting and dying for us, for our rights, for our freedoms. It's our responsibility if we're here at home to fight, make sure they come home to the same home they're over there fighting for and dying for. Now, you guys, of course, had to go to college to be able to have your jobs and accomplish what you've had today. Now, how would you feel if you didn't have those classes available to you to be able to get to where you are? I'm sure like you have children. You want them to accomplish their goals and fulfill their dreams. Now, how do you feel if your child doesn't have the class available to him to be able to accomplish his goals? I'm here on behalf of disabled. I'm bipolar and I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. Now, there's a lot of disabled people with disabilities that wouldn't be capable of coming to school during the day. There's too many crowds and there's too much going on, they can't handle it. Now what about those soldiers over there dying for us, watching their friends get blown up, coming home, missing a leg or something like that, and they want to take advantage of going to the colleges, but those classes aren't available. But they're over there dying for us. It's your responsibility to make sure all the same opportunities and chances that they had when they left are still here when they get back. And sorry for what you were saying. I said the Southwestern College to benefit the students. I just ask you to practice what you preach.
Thank you. Dorothy Gaffney.
Arden.
Dorothy.
Psychology. Yeah, through psychology, I've been able to overcome a lot though.
Okay, Dorothy. Is she outside? The officer check outside and see if she's out there. She left, okay, thank you. That concludes the oral discussions from the public. And thank all of you for your comments. Now we'll go to item number 9, which is approved consent calendar items A through H.
Madam Chair, I'll call item 9D as David, 9J in July, and 9K as Gila.